Cullen's a beef farmer, 4th generation. Last time we saw him, he was in his tractor outside Westminster. How you doing, kiddo?
Yeah, not too bad, Jeremy. Thank you. Good evening to you all.
Give us an update on where we are. We saw those protests in Westminster. We've heard Farage and Clarkson and loads of people saying this is a direct attack on our farming community. For people who don't understand, we're talking about a government, the Labour Party, who say farmers should pay inheritance tax. So I'll put it in layman's terms for everybody listening. If you own a farm worth 2 million quid, they want how many percent of that? 20%?
Well, 20%, yep.
So you've got to find £400,000. Then if you have to sell it to do that, you've got to pay capital gains tax. And what you've always said to me, Matt, is these farms, you're custodians of these farms. They're passed down from generation to generation. And the real eye-opener, apart from the fact for me, was when I was told by you that farmers, maybe, even if their farm's worth 3 million quid, are only taking out between 1 and 2% in salary a year. They're not multi-millionaires. They're scraping, right?
Absolutely right there, Jeremy, and this is the big problem. You know, farmers for a long time now have not been making any money whatsoever, and quite frankly, a lot of farms have been making a loss. And this uproar is because these farms can't afford to pay that sort of amount of tax bill, even over the government's advisory of 10 years. The business that they run could not pay those yearly payments. So that's why farmers are in such uproar at the moment and don't want this tax to go through. And
also, just making it for the... To me, this is so symptomatic of Labour. They'll look at you... I don't know what your farms are. I'm going to say 2 million. I'm sure it is. But so they're going to look at you and they're going to go, he's got a £2 million farm. He's rich. He's entitled. We're going to make him pay some tax on that so we can feed all the immigrants. Or I'll get told off for that, but you know exactly what I mean. That farm is going to be passed down to your children, to be passed down to you. And the thing that really infuriates me, apart from that, two things. It's blatantly a land grab, so their ridiculous green-gendered wind farm rubbish ideas are going to be implemented, at which point somebody's going to go, oh, we don't grow enough food for the British people, and it'll have to be imported from elsewhere, for God's sake, man.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you see, we've had a lot of people say, oh, but you've got, you know, you've got this, your machinery's worth this. This is where the money adds up. You know, 100 acres of farmable land today is worth 1 million. So it doesn't take long to get to the value and the figures.
Yeah.
Now, there are lots of people out there that said, oh, well, you're all rich. We're not rich. Yes, I would categorically say we would be if we sold everything and cashed it in. But that's not what we're about, and that's not what we're doing. We're actually asset rich, but cash poor is a business. And so when the threshold is set at 3 million now, and you can offset against a spouse, and then you can hand it down within 7 years, all of those things have to happen in a sequence for it to come right. And the problem was the bar was set far too low at 3 million. You're avoiding all the big bankers and investors that have bought up land to avoid paying inheritance tax. You're not going to touch them, and they've literally bulldozed their way through the family farm. And when you've got machinery totting up to a tractor today would be 150, 200,000, a combine £500,000, it doesn't take very long to get to that figure of 3 million. And you've got farm buildings and you've got a house. It soon very much equates to it. And most average farms today are from 150 acres to 350.
Matt,
that's your average working family farm. Yep.
What will, and I don't mean to be rude, I haven't got all the time in the world today because I've got, but I wanted to say this to you. If this happens, and I will stand absolutely shoulder to shoulder with farmers, I think it's a land grab and I think it's a disgrace, and I think it sums up this Labour Party because they just look through narrow eyes at, oh, privileged people, what a load of old rubbish. Yep. What will this do to the farming community in the United Kingdom if this ridiculous piece of legislation goes through?
If it goes through, and it's voted right through the House of Lords as well, it will just die. It will just literally put a steamroller through the farming community. And what it will do, it won't be 20% that farmers are going to be affected as of the government's figures. it's actually 70% of farmers it's going to affect. And that's 70% of farmers producing food in this country. And at the moment, we produce just over 55% of our own food in this country, which is still not enough. We need to be doing more. But you knock out 70% that are going to be affected, that leaves it into importing and being a big importer. And that's a very dangerous place to be in, because you will be held ransom. And that's the trouble we're fighting for. We're here to produce food to feed the nation. We're not here to be bulldozed out the way, land grabs come in, and farmers go. And when they're gone, they're not coming back.
Matt, I could talk to you forever, but I'll tell you this. This station and I and all the people will stand with you farmers forever. We appreciate you being on. Matt Cullen there, a beef farmer, railing quite rightly against that ridiculous plan, that inheritance tax, a tractor tax. They want to screw all the farmers and nick their land. This is Talk Drive.